and see what that does. Hopefully that's enough, and this will be stiff enough that we'll be happy with that. But like I said, this area from like here and up, I'd prefer not to put any braces because I'd like to reserve that area for gauges right above the steering wheel. I actually sat in the car, and this line here, from this sheet metal up, you can pretty much see that right over the top of the steering wheel when I'm in the car. So actually that whole area down there could all be gauges if I want it to be. And then this area, I think we're going to keep ignition coils there. The reason being that if you do a top view, the engine's obviously going to be like right in the middle, right up against the firewall. In the middle is, the top middle is where the spark plugs go. So the spark plug wires could just shoot right through the firewall and have my coils right here. The spark plug wires would be really short. I could label the ignition coils so they're easy to know like which one's which for troubleshooting. And of course keep them in here. They'll stay a lot cooler than if I keep them in the engine bay, which is the whole point of relocating them. Keep the heat off, it raises the performance. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap this video up. Today was not super productive, but we did get some work done. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this, and until next time, y'all take it easy. Hey guys, welcome back. So we've been working today. Actually, this took a while, but we got the steering column, I think it's in. We've got 2 braces right now, and it seems to be pretty rigid. I had planned on doing a 3rd brace, and we may still do it, but here's what we did. So this assembly for the pedal bracket, I cut this front off, and normally there's a piece that goes here and then it ties into the sheet metal up here, but I'd cut all that off. So we made these 2 pieces of plate that go into and bolt up here, and I'll show you from the back side. We installed these rivet nuts. These are awesome. You can just pop them in like a rivet and it presents threads that you can run a bolt into. So that's cool. So we did that. Over here, we just welded a plate in a tube like you can see. Shot it back here. It's bolted in as well, so that's removable. And then on this one, we put a big plate here, and then underneath it, yep, that works. We put a second plate, and we drilled and tapped that plate so you don't have to hold the nuts. The plate just has the threads in it, makes that part easy. And then for here, you can see I just took a second plate, ran it across, and then the bolts go through the first plate, through the second plates, into the firewall. So that worked out great. And that got our brace right in the middle, so it's pretty damn stiff. And that brace made all the difference. So if I grab this steering column and try to push it down, not much. Now if I do it this way, I can move it, but what's funny, and the camera may show this, I'm going to push it and watch what happens. I don't know if that shows up on camera, but this point's actually pretty rigid, so it pivots about this point and it's flexing the sheet metal down there. So making this more rigid isn't going to do much for that. So this is probably done, but we could always go back and throw a 3rd brace if we think we need it. So I haven't actually sat in the car. I'm about to jump in and see if I like everything. I mean, this should be in the correct position or close enough. Since these braces come here, you could actually add spacers and move it around slightly, but the intent was to get it where I want in the first place. So let's see if I like this. Okay, this is what it looks like. So there's the steering part, there's the braces. Here's looking at the windshield. God, the car, you're sitting like so low in the car now. Let's put the wheel on. Oh, actually, this part has to be straight up. And then there's a key. Oh, I've never done this in a car before. Not on this one. Yeah, something like that. There it goes. Steering wheel. Let me zoom out a little. That's not really better. But anyway, seems to work. Nice. It's pretty low. So you can see the top of the wheel is basically, yeah, let me do it that way. Yeah, the top of the wheel is kind of like the bottom of the windshield. That's the height of the wheel. So it's pretty low, but that's how I wanted it. So right now I'm holding the camera right where my eyes are. And so what you see is how it looks from my perspective. Basically looks like this. So you can tell I've got all this room down here. I can put gauges. I got that whole area over there. So it's going to be nice. Looks like my camera gets all weird when I go to 0.5. I believe there's my little camera has dirt under the glass. I actually had it repaired a while back and they didn't do a good job apparently. Anyway, Yeah, this looks good. Pretty rigid. Actually, the wheel flexes. Okay. Well, maybe that's a sign of the steering column's rigid enough. When you push on this, the wheel itself is flexing. Huh. Okay, so we're probably good on the braces. Nice. Alright, well, we're going to work on something else, but this was a big one, is getting the steering wheel in the right spot. I'll jump out of the car and show you how it looks, but pretty happy with this. We're going to call that done. Okay, so here's a side view. It's on the lift, so I can't get perfectly sideways, but there you go. Like I said, that steering wheel, the top of the wheel, pretty much the bottom of the windshield. So I definitely like that. Oh yeah, cool. Well, it's another thing off the list. Alright, so the next project, we just popped the hardtop on, but the problem is we can't bolt it down. Somebody put a roll cage in the way up here, so the little latches will not install. And then in the back, there's actually room to install the latch here, sort of, but I cut the car off where the rest of it goes. So that's not going to work either. Alright, so what do? Well, I'm seeing a couple options. And I wanted to show you guys because I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. So here's the first option. So this is up at the top. Here's the roll cage. There's the holes. It'd be pretty easy to stick a tab there and bolt that up. Okay, that's not really that hard. That wouldn't even, it's overhead welding, but that's not the worst. Same over there. Now let's look over here. Here's a hole. It's too close, can't use it. Here's one. You could do a tab like this. It'd have to be like 3 inches long or so, but you could do that. So maybe that's an option. Now, what are the pros and cons? Okay, so we said that. How else could you do it? So to do this would require welding to the roll cage. It would be better, or potentially better, if I could bolt this together and not have to work on the cage. So if we come over here, you've got, these are the holes for the, I think this is the ones for the strikers. Yeah, so you got 2 holes here. These are for like the, whatever those are called, visors. So these big holes here we could probably use. Maybe we could get under here, see my finger? And then wrap around and catch this. So the problem with that is that's a 3D bracket. But the benefit is I could bolt the hardtop to the windshield frame the way God intended, or at least the way Mazda intended. So kind of thinking about it, I like that idea. Mainly because I don't have to modify the cage, I don't have to weld on the cage. There's no like concern about rules or hey, you put, you know, a structural roof tied to your roll cage. You know, stuff like that. So safety wise, I like that idea better. Now let's look back here. The problem with doing that here is I cut the car off, but it's not as bad as it sounds. If you come down here where my hand is, there's a piece of metal right here. Now over here I've got a seat in the way, but I can easily unbolt it. I could drill and put bolts through this and run a strap of metal that would just come up here and catch that, just like a flat piece of metal. Wouldn't be super elegant, but what I like about that, what I like about both of these, is that if I do it that way, it would be removable to run the car without a hardtop. So like if I weld tabs that go from here up, even when you take the roof off, you're gonna have these steel tabs just poking up right there. Same thing up here. If I just weld tabs, they're gonna be poking out right there even when the roof's off. So it'd look kind of weird. Now I don't know if I'm actually going to run the car with the roof off. There's a couple people that are watching this video that understand why I would say that. But just to kind of summarize, this car has a history that the top actually holds the car together. What I mean is, the last 2 times I took the top off and drove this car in anger, the motor exploded. So it appears the top actually holds it together. So we don't know if we're going to run it without a top or not. But I love the idea of being able to do that and not having those tabs everywhere. I think it's safer that way, and I do like the bolt-in option anyway, because I'd rather not weld on this roll cage. So, with that said, I think what I'm going to do is get some cardboard and try to build a cardboard template of what these 3D brackets would look like. And just get an idea of like, hey, is this really feasible, or is this, you know, fairy tale? One thing that I kind of got going for me is they don't have to be steel. They could probably be aluminum, or at least they could be thin steel. So we're going to experiment. We're going to see, put a little bit of effort in, see if we can build a 3D bracket. Alright guys, check this out. So, we made some pretty good progress. For the front, I found these hardtop latches already bought. Now, I tried to use these before and they didn't fit. And to be fair, they really don't fit right now either. Sorry it's dark in here, working on that. But anyway, they don't really fit, but I just kind of bent them around and they're close. So if we come up here, you can tell that's poking up. It's not horrible, but I used to have this like dead flush and it's not dead flush. Like right here, actually where the latch is pretty accurate. But in the middle it's bowed out, so it'll require some adjustment, but we will eventually fix that. For now it's bolted down. Okay, for the rears, I did what I was hoping. I got a bolt-in solution, no welding. So check this out. So we used one of these bolts right here, and I made this piece of aluminum, and if you look, it doesn't actually touch the cage. It gets close, but it snakes around the cage. And then makes another bend down here, and it bolts to the shelf area. I'll show you. There we go. So this has one of those rivet nuts in the sheet metal, which makes it really nice because you can just bolt this in and bolt it out. You don't have to deal with a nut on the backside that could fall and all that kind of stuff. So I'm real happy with that, and it's totally out of the way. It's actually on the other side of the cage bar, so it's never going to be in the way of the driver. And you can remove this. If I take the top off, it unbolts and there's no brace, there's nothing left. So also it's lightweight and simple. It's just a strap of aluminum, cheap, easy. This didn't take long to build. This took I think an hour and maybe 15 minutes at the most, start to finish, for the rears. And I was designing it, fabbing both of them, drilling, popping the rivet nuts in, bolting it in, everything. So pretty quick, very happy with that. So I don't know, let's just say that's the end for this video. I'm not sure if I'm doing anything else tonight, but good progress. Got the steering column in, it's looking really nice. Got the hardtop bolted in. That's awesome. So making some real progress. Alright guys, hope y'all enjoyed this, and until next time, y'all take it easy.